Good morning, boys and girls. It is 5:30 in the morning. This is the time we gather to sketch and drink coffee before I go to work. I have about 400 of these little capsules here full of toys in a box back here that I call the Random Object Randomogrifier. And I pull out a fresh one every morning and try to sketch it in about 20 to 30 minutes. And that's just what we do every morning while we chat and drink coffee and listen to some jazzy tunes to get us woke up for the morning. And let me tell you, it does a pretty good job of waking me up because I am happy and fresh for the rest of the day after I do it. My coffee is just the right temperature. It's just the right temperature. It's just the right amount of sweetener. It's just the right amount of cayenne pepper. It's everything, and I just want to drink it down, but it's still too hot for that, which is a good thing because then it can last a little bit. I'm going to work in the composition here and make sure everything fits on the page like it's supposed to. And what I've been trying to do is set this up the night before. You know, it's still random. It's just I choose it the night before instead of the day of. And last night I went to bed about 7:45. I was just going to lay down for 20 minutes. And then the next thing I know, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and time for, you know, there's no getting up and doing anything at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I guess I could have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody would have said anything. But I did not. So I did not set this up in advance, which means I did not know what it was, that it was going to be artichokes when I went to bed, which means that I didn't do any research last night about artichokes. And I will tell you a little secret. I'm not even sure I've ever seen an artichoke in my life. I'm calling this an artichoke because I think this is what they are when I saw them on the Little Rascals when I was a kid. And all I remember about them was that in the Little Rascals they would peel them all the way to the middle and there wouldn't be anything left to eat in the middle. They'd be starving to death and they'd finally get some artichokes and they'd be so happy. And I saw the Little Rascals do it, and I saw Charlie Chaplin do it, and I saw Laurel and Hardy do it, and I saw the Three Stooges do it, and they all had this gag where they would get artichokes and they would be so happy because they could finally have something to eat, and then they would peel the artichoke and there wouldn't be anything. Once they peeled the artichoke, there wouldn't be anything left. And that, my friends, is everything I know about artichokes. How sad is that? This is not something my mother prepared when I was a child. My mother has probably had an artichoke. I have no idea. I'm sure my dad has had an artichoke because his parents were avid gardeners, and they do that sort of thing. Gardeners grow stuff. It's weird. But I'm not even sure I've seen an artichoke in a store. I couldn't tell you. It's like eggplants. Hi, Claudia. Claudia's joining us from the Netherlands. But it's like eggplants, you know. I've seen an eggplant, but I was in my 20s before I ever tasted an eggplant. It's just not something we did. And so it's the same with artichokes. It's just not something I've ever experienced. And maybe I should experience an artichoke. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe this is the one thing in my life that has been missing my whole life, and and I just don't know it because I've never had one. And that would be sad, I think, because the chances of me seeking out and trying an artichoke now are pretty slim. My mom says no clue how to prepare them or how they taste. Eggplant's not my favorite, but I do cook them sometimes. So yeah, the only time I ever had an eggplant was in botany class in college. We had to prepare a vegetarian meal just to show what a vegetarian meal was like. What could be done with a vegetarian meal. Dr. McGrath was a vegetarian by choice, not religion, not anything like that. It was just he chose to live a vegetarian lifestyle, and so he just wanted to encourage us. He just wanted to point out to us that all of the proteins were available in the plant world. Not because he was trying to encourage us to be vegetarians, just because he was trying to teach us about plants. He was really, really good about that. He wasn't trying to impose his lifestyle on us. But I told you all that just to get out the fact that somebody in the class made eggplant parmesan, and it was really good. But it was good because of the cheese and the sauce. The eggplants were just secondary to whatever it was that they made, and they were all proud that it was a vegetarian meal that everybody liked, but really we all just liked the sauce. But yeah, eggplants, artichokes. I have no idea what does an artichoke even taste like. Dad, have you had artichoke? Dad's in the chat. I'm sure he's had an artichoke before. But honestly, the only thing I know about them is what they did with them on the Little Rascals, and the gag where they just peel them, and there's nothing left to eat after they peel them. Claudia says it's not tasty. So Claudia's had an artichoke. See, now I don't have any reason to try one. Thank you for that. Because it's not like I was going to anyway, but you saved me. And I appreciate that. I think a lot of vegetables are survival food. I read a book a couple of years ago called The Hereditary Diet. I think that was the name of the book. And the premise of the book was that wherever your ancestors were during the Ice Age are the foods that you are most adept at eating. They're the foods that your body digests the best. And I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know how scientifically sound it is. But it is, as an intellectual, it is just scientifically sound enough to convince me. And that's not saying much, because it's real easy to convince intellectuals what they want to hear. And I want to hear that I do better with an all-meat diet. But the premise is, again, that you do best eating the foods that your ancestors would have eaten during the Ice Age. And so if you look at me, I am mostly Northern European and Native American. And so my ancestors would have been small birds and fish and the occasional land mammal. And truth be known, when I eat a diet of mostly chicken, very little vegetables, very little red meat, I find that all of my aches and pains go away. Now, is that psychosomatic? Is that a placebo effect? Do you care if the pain is gone? That it is all in your head? I do not care if it is all in my head, as long as the pain is gone. I don't have to get every leaflet on this, but since I already mostly have, I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish out that way. Yeah. Now I'm going to get rid of beans, broccoli, lettuce. We eat that a lot. See, I think broccoli is a bad joke. I think broccoli was, somebody says eat these flowers, and somebody says no, I'm not going to eat those flowers, and somebody else says no, you got to eat these flowers, you got to try them, they're really, really good and try them. He's going to try the flowers, he's going to eat them. And then the Mark tries the flowers and everybody laughs. Ah, let's go get Timmy. Timmy, try these flowers. I think broccoli's a cruel joke. I don't think broccoli, cauliflower is the same plant, Brussels sprouts, same plant, cabbage, same plant. It's all the same plant. And I think it's all a cruel joke that they played on each other until one day there was nothing else left and that's all they had to eat. And they had collected so much as a joke. And then they were sitting around the campsite eating their sticks of broccoli, looking at each other saying, oh yeah, super funny now, huh? Had to collect the broccoli. Except I like cabbage. I like sauerkraut. I like coleslaw. But I think broccoli's a cruel joke. I don't think we were actually meant to eat broccoli. This is one of those things I was telling you about the other day. The only way you can tell that that's round is because of that bounce back light on the other side. This dark form shadow runs a ring around the edge there, but then there's a bounce back light underneath it. And that reflected light underneath it is what tells your brain that it's round and not angular. If you don't add that in, your brain won't read that as round. Brains are funny that way because they don't see the way we expect them to see. They see about a silver dollar sized focused area in front of them, and then they infer everything else. And if you don't give it enough information, it will infer the wrong thing. know, my nose never itches as much as it does when I'm on camera. So here we have a cast shadow. Cast shadow is different than a form shadow, but we actually have a form shadow crossing over a cast shadow. I like fresh spinach. They're in the chat room. Now they're in the chat room talking about vegetables. I like fresh spinach. I don't like boiled spinach. But you give me a fresh spinach salad, and it's all good. I'm all about the fresh spinach salad. So I was running a little late today getting set up. I was worried that I wasn't going to make it. Last night, I went to bed. I think I said this earlier. I went to bed. I was just going to lay down for a little while. I was so tired. I was just going to lay down for a few minutes. And the next thing I know, that was 7:30. The next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock this morning, right? I haven't set up the page. I haven't set up the reference photo for those that want to draw along. I haven't set up the thumbnail. I haven't set the chat up. And so since 4:30 this morning, which normally at 4:30 I'm just sipping coffee and I'm getting my mind set and I'm relaxing, getting ready to come in here and play with you guys. This morning I was running around 4:30 trying to get all this set up, making sure I'm got the camera set up and recording. Yes, thank you for asking, Mother. I am recording. Yes, I am recording. Second guessing myself. But I just was kind of tired and lazy last night. Which leads us to the Spanish word of the day. The Spanish word of the day is hogazanear, which is to laze about. Hogazanear. Now, I don't know how to use it in a sentence. If anybody knows how to use it in a sentence, I am open to suggestions. Hogazanear. Hear that R at the end? Hogazanear. I'm proud of that. Okay. We have some stray lines we need to clean up. My artichokes aren't very round. There we go. When we come back in with the darker shadows, it'll make more sense. But yeah, I was just really tired. Night before last, I didn't sleep at all. I laid there and I tossed and I turned. didn't sleep hardly at all. And so last night, I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I found myself trying to eat carbs to stay awake, and that's never good for me. Because my ancestors didn't have a lot of carbs. My ancestors were in the frozen tundra, surviving on small birds they could catch. What is this right here? Which part of the plant is this? This is this plant, not this plant. And so my ancestors would not have eaten artichoke. And my ancestors would not have done well with carbs. And I believe it. It lets me have all the red meat I want. No, it does not let me have all the red meat I want. It lets me have all of the chicken that I want, all the fish that I want. I'm really supposed to be limiting the red meat. Alright, I think let's move into the shades. Well, I'm supposed to go to bed. Claudia, I try to go to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock every night. I get between 6 and 7 hours sleep every night. Claudia's in the chat room. She's asking me what time I go to bed. I try to go to bed between 9:30 and 10 o'clock so I can get between 6 and 7 hours sleep every night. It doesn't work out because even though my alarm is set for 5, which would be 7 hours from 10 o'clock. And, you know, I'm one of those people, I go to sleep almost the second my head hits the pillow. But I wake up between 4 and 4:30 every morning. And that's not anything I have control over. That's just something that's happened my whole life. I don't ever remember not waking up at that time. Now, whether or not I got out of bed is a different story. But I wake up at that time every day, my whole life. You'll see me, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see me every now and then. I'll post about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and talk about how much I love sleeping in on the weekends. And that sometimes cuts my 7 hours down to, 5.5. My mom says, "You are your father's son." Well, yeah, I would hope so. I mean, we covered this the other day. We know who my dad is. Okay. My friend sells fried chicken at markets. Last Monday I worked with her. Yummy. Yeah, fried chicken is fantastic. But see, fried chicken is in our diet. But grilled or rotisserie chicken is better for us. It doesn't necessarily mean it tastes better, but fried chicken is fantastic. My grandmother used to fry chicken, and we called it granny fried chicken. And I believe it was just salt, pepper, and paprika. But it was fantastic. We don't get that anymore. She's 92. She makes us cook now. Maybe my mom will fry chicken someday. I bet I can count on one hand the number of times my mom has fried chicken at home. She's a good cook. My mom's a good cook too. How are we doing on time? Oh, it's already 5:58. Mom says it's just flour and fried in oil. Yeah. I don't think there was anything special about it. It's just salt and pepper. But you mix that with just a little onion gravy. Woo. See, my older kids wouldn't eat chicken on the bone. And so we never really got in the habit of cooking fried chicken for family dinner. And so oh yeah, it's rotisserie. Oh, that's fantastic. She says she's on an iron stick, which rotates in front of the heat. Rotisserie chicken is amaze balls. I love rotisserie chicken. I gotta come in and shade these artichokes in because they are not white. If I leave them white, you can't separate them from the paper. Now here's another little trick. Just like shading a ball, this side overall is shaded from that side, but then each leaflet has its own shade. And that's what gives it form. Same thing on this one. This whole side is away from the light. This part is darker than the bottom part because there's reflected light. And then each leaflet has its own shade. like that. I think, boys and girls, I think I'm going to call it because I could sit here and mess with this all day. I say this every morning because it's so easy. It's really just so easy just to get wrapped up in the details and just sit there, especially when it's something you like doing, and I like doing this. This is the 22nd of April. So since I like doing it so much, it makes it real easy to do it with you. It's real easy for me to do it with you. You know, there's nothing you can say in Dr. Frankenfurter's voice. That's my Dr. Frankenfurter imitation from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Which, in all honesty, it's not Dr. Frankenfurter. It's Wile E. Coyote. We just use it for Dr. Frankenfurter. But there's nothing you can say in that voice in that way that doesn't sound naughty. I've got to make this the same angle as what I saw when I was drawing. I've moved because I've lost that shadow right there. There we go. That's about it right there. You can't screen cap it while you're doing that. So there we go. There's this morning's drawing. Artichokes. Anyway, there's nothing you can't say in Dr. Frankenfurter's voice like that that's not naughty. We're drawing artichokes. I'll fix you eggs for breakfast. Just everything about it sounds naughty. So, I especially like drawing with you. Okay. That's enough of that nonsense. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. You know I look forward to it every day. And I will see you again tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning. Thank you, Claudia. Claudia says this is a good job. Thank you so much. I will see you again tomorrow morning at 5:30. Everybody have a fantastic day. And peace out. Mwah. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing. And then when they see me dancing, I will know that the lag has caught up and we can quit.